Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Superheroes, Movies, and Superhero Movies. I'm Justin Speck.
I'm John Pelzel.
And today we're talking about our top 10 most anticipated films of 2016. Now, right before we started recording, John, I think you were telling me that you don't necessarily enjoy doing these top 10 lists.
That was fast. It's just like, I feel like I have to stretch for them.
To make 10.
Yeah, this year though, it like when I was looking, I was dreading that and feeling like that was going to happen again, but I was actually pleasantly surprised to see all of the films that were there to pick from, and I filled up almost instantaneously. So this is a good year for movies.
Yeah, I think I agree. There's actually, I came up with a list of probably about 15 or so I had to kind of cut it down, and even today just found another movie that I put on the list. So I had to cut something off, but yeah. I'll get to that.
Even more surprising, all of these movies haven't even been released yet.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, we're not gonna, since it's February. We talked about that too. We every year it seems like we do this top 10 list a little later and later. So a few years from now, we're going to be doing it in the middle of June, probably.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Right. No, next year hopefully we'll start a little earlier. But
well, this is always the busy time for me, like as far as my job goes. So it seems like we have a little bit more of a stretch and a span of when we can do these,
right?
Or when they
and I've just made it even more difficult for us because I've decided to switch to the night shift at my work. So
right, so
we can only now do it on the
weekends now,
right? So hopefully we'll still get them out somewhat regularly. But
we always do better in the summertime, I think.
That's true. Yeah.
And then the holidays come around,
and then we do great.
Right. Hey, I think last year we did pretty well.
Well, before we get started and jump into our top 10 list, we did get a new comment on iTunes for our podcast. And it was extraordinarily nice. It was we're a little behind on this. This is actually posted on January 19th. But he gave us 5 stars and said, "Awesome and hilarious. I was looking up superhero podcasts and found this one. I listened to the very first one and immediately subscribed. I love y'all's thoughts and opinions and even laughed at y'all jokes. Y'all, whatever. I can't read through it. If y'all never mentioned that y'all talked via Skype, I would never knew. I've listened to about every podcast to date except for a few, only because I haven't seen the movie y'all were talking about. I love the podcast and don't regret subscribing. I'm looking forward to more reviews and opinions. Keep up the great work. CJ Higgins." So
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that's amazing. It's also amazing that you subscribed right after our first episode. We keep making jokes that, I almost want to revisit Man of Steel because it was our very first episode. We didn't have our microphones
I imagine
yet.
We will.
Yeah, we probably will. And so we don't see that as our best episode by any means, but it has the most downloads.
It is the most downloaded one, and it just continues. It always looks like this one's going to overtake it, or it'll be overtaken. It just has always stayed afloat. I don't think it's ever been beaten.
Right. And so I'm assuming it's people wanting to start at the beginning just to see what we're about, and I feel like it's not a true accurate representation of what we. Right. Or where we are now, but maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't listened to it in a while.
I listened to it a little while ago again, just to embarrass myself, and it's. I felt like we did especially for our first episode. We were having a good conversation. So
well, that's good then.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was okay.
And it was obviously enough for CJ Higgins to subscribe and keep listening to us. So
yeah,
we appreciate that, CJ. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. And thank you for your extremely nice comment. So that was that made us smile, and we really appreciate it.
And yeah, speaking of which, we do this on Skype, and I think our next episode might be a commentary on Batman '89.
Yeah, we'll have to, it'll be an experiment. So if you don't see a commentary for Batman 1989 pop up in your feed, you'll know that something did not go well. But
that sounds good. Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be our plan. Is our next episode is probably going to be another commentary. It'll be like a bonus episode, I guess, kind of like our Jurassic Park commentary.
Right, exactly.
So when we did Jurassic Park, we were in the same room. So this will be the first time we've done a commentary via. I don't know. We haven't figured out exactly the logistics yet, but we'll figure it out. So we'll see. Yeah. So you want to just go ahead and jump right into it and start? I'll start with my number 10.
Sure.
All right. Number 10 on my list is a movie that I'm hoping it will be good. It's called The Founder. And it is directed by John Lee Hancock, who doesn't necessarily have the best directorial resume. His movies aren't necessarily bad, but they're also just not necessarily amazing. He directed The Rookie, The Alamo, The Blind Side, and most recently Saving Mr. Banks. John Lee Hancock, the writer, though, I think has written some pretty good movies. He wrote A Perfect World, which is a Clint Eastwood film with Kevin Costner back in the day. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Snow White and the Huntsman, which I actually was kind of a fan of. But The Founder is actually written by Robert Siegel, who wrote The Wrestler, if you remember that movie with Mickey Rourke. And he also wrote a movie called Big Fan with Patton Oswalt that I really enjoyed. But The Founder is actually about the story of McDonald's founder, Ray Kroc. And I know a little bit about Ray Kroc and how he basically he was selling milkshake machines when he came across this burger joint called McDonald's, run by the McDonald's brothers, and he essentially kind of bought it out from under him and kind of stole it from them, sort of, and then it became this huge fast food, giant. So Michael Keaton is playing Ray Kroc, and I think that could be a very interesting story if it's done right, and I love Michael Keaton, of course, so I'm hoping it'll be another, who knows if it'll be an Oscar-worthy performance, but I think it'll have a...
Right.
I think it'll be cool to see him play Ray Kroc.
Yeah, I was talking with some friends about Michael Keaton the other night because we were talking about Batman and stuff, and Beetlejuice, and I haven't seen Birdman yet.
Oh, yeah.
But I really, really want to because I want to see Michael Keaton.
It's definitely worth seeing.
Yeah, I'm glad he's coming. He's doing some movies again that are.
Yeah, he's always been around, but I think people are, because of Birdman, perhaps people are kind of remembering how good he is.
Exactly,
and so that's always nice. Yeah,
yeah,
kind of having a comeback, I guess. So, The Founder is my number 10. It comes out limited release, I believe, November 25th, so later in the year, and it also stars Linda Cardellini, Nick Offerman, Patrick Wilson, Laura Dern. Looks like B.J. Novak and a couple other people. So I'm hoping that one's pretty good.
Okay.
The Founder.
All right. Well, my number 10 is this would be my most stretchy movie that I'm going to put on here. It's Finding Dory.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've always been a big Pixar fan. I haven't been the biggest fan of some of their stuff lately.
Uh-huh.
I was not a fan of Brave.
Right.
I haven't seen all of Inside Out, but what I saw, I felt like I was liking it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like what I saw as far as the, trailer and footage for The Good Dinosaur. It felt kind of like Brave to me.
Right.
And when I saw Finding Nemo, I saw that in theaters. And that movie was so hyped when it came out to me that I almost felt like I just didn't like it. Like, it was good. Like, I was like, this was a good movie, but it was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Later on, as time went on, and I'd watch it occasionally, I realized how good Finding Nemo was. And so Finding Nemo I consider to be definitely a Pixar-worthy movie and one of the best ones they did.
Sure.
Especially at that time. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with Finding Dory. I didn't see Monsters University.
Uh-huh. That's what it was. I was trying to remember the other Pixar movies that came in between Brave and Inside Out and Monsters University.
See, I haven't seen a lot of the most current Pixar stuff.
Uh-huh.
Of course, Up and WALL-E were incredible.
Yes, they were.
That was like, in my mind, the peak of Pixar was like We're the King.
Right.
Because it just kept getting better and better. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think they got to the point where you just couldn't go over the hurdle anymore. You couldn't do it.
Right.
And maybe we'll get back to that point again. I don't know, but
it's interesting that you had that reaction to Finding Nemo in the beginning, because I actually had a very similar reaction. I didn't see Finding Nemo in the theater. I don't really know if I had a lot of interest in it. And then it just seemed like everybody loved Finding Nemo to the point where it did kind of get almost annoying. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I don't even want to see Finding Nemo now, because so many people are just singing its praises, I guess, which is a really weird thing to think. You'd think that because everybody's talking about how good it is, you'd want to go see it. But it was almost like people wouldn't shut up about it or something.
Yeah, I like Frozen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, Frozen was a good movie, but Frozen got like that. Right,
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And to the point where you're like, okay, we get it. Frozen's a good movie. Right. Let's move on.
Yeah, you finally, no offense to Disney, but it's like you finally got one that was close to, it's reminiscent of the Little Mermaid days.
Right, yeah, like the early Aladdin 90s films.
Came, mm-hmm. and Disney at that time kind of did the same thing Pixar did, was everyone kept getting better, and then they hit with The Lion King, mm-hmm. Which was such a amazing movie. So lessons about getting to the top to where you just can't outdo it.
Yeah, nowhere to go but down.
So good. Yeah.
Right. Finding Nemo, though, was a huge hit for Pixar, and Finding Dory. I think the reason Finding Dory didn't really make it to my list is probably because I don't know what the story is there. And Dory wasn't necessarily my favorite character of Finding Nemo. She was funny, but I don't know.
After
if the
several
whole movie centers
viewings,
around
her character grew on me. I haven't seen the trailer for it.
Oh, well, there's not really one. There's Pixar's, pretty. They do this, they'll put like a teaser trailer out that doesn't tell you anything. I remember the first teaser for Up was just the house on the balloons.
Gotcha.
And I was like, that's right. Where's the story of that movie? Like, I remember thinking, I think I thought the same thing with WALL-E. Like, I think the first teaser for WALL-E was him cleaning up the trash or something on Earth. And I was like, that's not a movie. That is, and of course it's because they're saving the story for later. And so Pixar's kind of notorious for that. And so I'm sure it's probably going to be pretty good. Will it be as good as the original? I don't know. Their sequels lately haven't been as good. Cars 2 was like their first, it was a commercial success, I believe, but it was their first critical failure. Like, critics didn't really care for it. Monsters University, I saw that. It was fun, but not nearly as good as Monsters, Inc. I agree with you on Brave. I didn't really think Brave was all that great. Inside Out was amazing to me, and most everyone that has seen Inside Out loves it.
Yeah.
My fiance is the one exception where she just kind of is like, it's okay.
Say what? Who?
Denise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Andrew Stanton is directing this, so, he wrote Toy Story. He was part of all of the Toy Stories.
Yeah, he's like one of the founding Pixar guys, I think, so.
So I always get excited when one of them do it, because now they're not doing all of them.
Right.
Like they used to be.
Sure.
Which was when it was them, that's when Pixar was solid.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not discrediting any of the new directors or them trying to, experiment with them.
Or branch out, sure. Mm-hmm.
But it's just, they were
Pixar's A-team.
Yeah, I call them like basically the Beatles of animation.
Right. Cool. So. When's Finding Dory come out, do you know?
December. No, that's Andrew Stanton. That was his birthday.
That's his birthday.
December 3rd, 1965 is Finding Dory. Okay. June 17th. Okay.
June 17th. That sounds a little better.
2016.
All right. Number 9 for me is a film that I'm sure probably didn't make it to your list, but I'm a big fan of the series of books, and it is the sequel to Jack Reacher, the Tom Cruise film, and it's called Jack Reacher: Never Go Back. I believe it's what it's called. Starring Tom Cruise again, of course. I read the book Never Go Back, which the film is based on, and I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to the movie coming out. I enjoyed the first movie a lot, but I think a lot of that might have to do with Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote. Obviously, it was based on a novel by Lee Child, but he wrote the screenplay and he directed the first Jack Reacher film. This one is unfortunately not going to be Christopher McQuarrie. He's a little too busy because he's going to be directing Mission Impossible 6. So it is written by a couple other people and directed by Edward Zwick, who the last time he worked with Tom Cruise was for a film called The Last Samurai, which I really enjoyed.
And what did he do with that?
He was Edward Zwick was the director.
The director, gotcha.
So
well,
he's directing,
I loved The Last Samurai.
Yes. Edward Zwick is actually a very good director. He's directed a lot of good movies. He directed Last Samurai, Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt from the early 90s. He directed Glory back in 1989. I'm trying to think of some other movies he did. The Siege with Bruce Willis and Denzel Washington and Annette Bening. Blood Diamond, which was pretty good with...
Blood Diamond was good.
Yeah, with Leonardo DiCaprio. So he's obviously a very good director, and I think he'll do just fine with Jack Reacher. I'm just hoping that it kind of keeps some of the humor and some of the slickness, I guess you could say, about the original Jack Reacher. So, but a big fan of those books. I've read quite a few of them. Lee Child just keeps pumping them out too. I think there's like over 20 Jack Reacher novels, and I've only read about 6 of them. But I think Jack Reacher's a cool character, and I think Tom Cruise does a good job with it. So I'm looking forward to that one. That one comes out October 21st. Hopefully we'll get a trailer for that sooner rather than later.
Nice. All right. My number 9 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows.
Very nice.
I haven't even seen all of the first one.
Okay.
And I wasn't that excited about the first one.
Right.
What I saw, I'll save that for a podcast.
I believe I think the first one, I remember talking about the first one on our top 10 of, I guess it would have been 2014. And I don't think it made it onto either of our lists, but it was like an honorable mention because we just weren't really sure about the first one. And I did see the first one in theaters, and from what I can tell just based off the trailer, obviously the design of the turtles is the same and everything, but this movie looks like it's going to be more fun.
At least that's how the trailer made it look.
Right, exactly. Which, trailers can lie to you, obviously. But
they've gotten really good at trailers.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean, because a lot of movies are really good with their trailers, and then the movie turns out to be that way too.
Mm-hmm.
But, the trailers can be really cool. I felt like this trailer, for some reason, it feels cartoony.
It does.
But it's almost like you're excited for it.
I was going to say, it feels cartoony, but almost in a good way. It's because I think it really reminds me of the old cartoon from the late 80s, early 90s that I grew up on.
Right.
I mean, the inclusion of Baxter Stockman and, I almost said Cowboy Bebop and Rocksteady. And
I'm surprised. Why do you know what Cowboy Bebop is?
It's an anime. That's about as far as I know.
Have you watched it?
No.
All right. Real quick. I was thinking about this the other day, actually, about you and anime. I would consider Cowboy Bebop to be one of those animes, at least back then, when it was around the time it came out, it was like early 2000s, that I would say, if you want to be introduced to anime, this is one you would watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would maybe like Cowboy Bebop because it is a sci-fi, like space. Like I said, that's one of those ones I think most people could easily enjoy, and I think you might enjoy Cowboy Bebop. But it was funny because you said Cowboy Bebop, and you hate anime and haven't even seen it.
Right.
But you knew what it was.
I did, yeah. I mean, we used to have, when I was working, when I worked at Blockbuster, especially in Georgia, we used to have copies of. There was a Cowboy Bebop the movie, I think. I remember we had copies of that and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
But no, I never watched it. But maybe, is it on Netflix? Is Cowboy Bebop on Netflix?
No, it's not. I know it's
okay,
not.
Well then I won't watch it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
If it was on Netflix, I would check it out. But no. No, so anyway, back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the inclusion of Bebop and Rocksteady, and the fact that Krang is even in it, which we got to see a glimpse of Krang from the Super Bowl.
I actually haven't even seen that yet.
You haven't?
No.
You should check it out, because it shows very quickly you remember that body suit that Krang
Yes.
wore? It was like the bald guy?
Yes.
He makes a very quick cameo, I guess you could say, in the trailer. And then Michelangelo.
And he's in that suit?
Yeah. It's like the bald guy with like the visor kind of thing.
Oh man, I need to like pull this up right now.
Watch it right now. And then Michelangelo like knocks on the glass part where Krang is and you see just a quick glimpse of Krang's like eye. So very CGI heavy. Obviously trying to maybe perhaps. I think this movie is actually trying to appeal to kids today, but also have a little bit of nostalgia for people, our age and whatnot. So
Right.
This one didn't quite make my list either, but it is an honorable mention, and I am excited about seeing it.
Are you serious?
You see it?
Oh my goodness. My excitement just doubled. Okay, so let me say this. I think it was around the time before it was before the Michael Bay didn't direct it. Who directed the first one?
It's directed by Jonathan Liebsman, I believe is his name, and he directed Battle of Los Angeles.
Anyway, I went back sometime around that time, I think, and was reading the original comics.
Those old ones, were they in black and white?
Yes.
Right.
They weren't as dark as everyone thinks hears that they were.
Right.
But they were just serious. They were not joking and all that stuff. It was a serious take on it. But anyway, going to the cartoon, I've always been intrigued, and I would go back and learn about how deep they went into the lore of Dimension X.
Yeah.
And the armies and stuff, because I got one of the video games for my kids. It was a remake of the Super Nintendo version. Mm-hmm. If you ever played that, it was called Turtles in Time.
I remember it. I don't know if I ever played it. The only one I remember playing is the arcade.
It was arcade based, where you would, you had 4 characters. You go across the screen and you beat up, guys,
right.
And the screen would let you go once you.
So anyway, I might have played it.
Yeah. So, but all of the bosses are so cool in it, and to see that it looks like Dimension X is now getting involved in the storyline, and I'm kind of excited to see. They had the old, the army guys. If you remember, the general, and they were rock soldiers. Do you remember the Dimension X army?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, well, that's when I started getting out of Turtles. Was when they started entering. But
yeah.
I remember still they were really cool, and so they're from Dimension X, and it looked like didn't it look like there was a portal open in that TV
Oh yeah,
spot?
I think Dimension X is going to play a role in this film because it looks like that stuff coming from the sky and everything in the beginning,
right,
of the trailer, and then I can't remember where it shows up in the Super Bowl spot, but yeah, it definitely looks like Dimension X is going to be playing a role.
Yeah, so I'm thinking there's a good chance, since it looks like they're, like you said, sticking with some of the classic audience and generation, that we might see some of these rock soldier army guys.
It's possible.
And there's even another race in space that are these walking intelligent Triceratops beings. I forgot their name, but they're a yellow color, and they dress in suits and stuff and have spaceships and all this kind of Star Trek stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, I've always wanted to see how deep, because it didn't seem like they really went that deep into it with the cartoon from what I saw. When I was looking it up and stuff, there was only one episode that really went into Dimension X.
Really?
With the original, our generation's,
right.
style. And
I thought there was more than that, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because whenever I think of Krang, I kind of think of Dimension X.
Yeah, but no, they really, the Turtles only went into Dimension X in the cartoon once or twice.
Oh, wow.
And it was visiting, if you remember, you probably wouldn't remember unless you went back and watched it, but it was kind of a silly episode. There wasn't much explanation about it, because Shredder and Krang get thrown back in there into Dimension X, and the portal gets closed, so they're stuck there.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I think I remember Shredder having to, because he's almost fighting the Turtles from afar because they're stuck in Dimension X.
Right, but it never shows anything except the Technodrome.
Right. Yes. Yeah. The Technodrome.
And then the Turtles come back once, but it's dealing with this alien group of teenagers that have this flying car, and it's a take on teenagers from the 50s, but they're aliens.
That I think I remember that.
And they have slick back hair like Elvis and stuff. So that's all we've really gotten as far as Dimension X goes, and I'm just curious to see the detail that they go to.
Cool.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comes out June 3rd of this year. Obviously.
Number 8 for me is a movie called Midnight Special. and it is directed by Jeff Nichols, who, if you haven't seen any of his films, he directed a movie called Take Shelter with Michael Shannon that was excellent. And then his last film was a movie called Mud with Matthew McConaughey, and that movie
was amazing,
really good.
Yeah.
So this one, both of those are kind of dramas, and this one looks like a drama as well, but it also has a supernatural element to it. There's a child in this one who appears from the trailer and everything to have superhuman abilities of some sort. And so the trailer looks really, really good, and I really like Jeff Nichols' previous films. I haven't seen Shotgun Stories, but I need to check it out. So Midnight Special is actually coming out pretty soon. It has Michael Shannon in it as well, and Joel Edgerton, and I forget the kid that plays the kid. I don't remember his name at the top of my head, but he was in the movie St. Vincent with Bill Murray. So that movie anyway comes out March 18th. Midnight Special looks really good.
My number 8 is Independence Day Resurgence, and watching the trailer. When they announced this movie, I was not really interested at all.
Same here.
I was going to brush it off, especially because it's directed by Roland Emmerich.
Right. Which, I mean, the first one was too, but
and I know that. But that was it was kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan thing.
Oh, I gotcha.
Except he didn't really have any others, did he? Let me see.
Well, I would say he did Stargate. And I have not seen Stargate in forever, but when I was a kid, I really enjoyed Stargate. And then
I don't know if I barely remember Stargate. I feel like I've watched it all the way through once. I remember, like you said, kind of being intrigued by it,
right,
and feeling like it's supposed to be a good movie, but almost feeling like I was stretching a little bit.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen it for so long.
I feel like there's one other Roland Emmerich movie that I enjoyed watching, but I can't think of what it is. So if you're looking them up, maybe name some of his films.
Well, we've got The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, not very good.
Godzilla, the 1998 version.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
2012.
Yeah, not very good.
I didn't even see all of 2012, but I came in to my wife was watching it, and I came in about halfway and saw a scene where there was something about jumping from a cliff to a ship.
Right.
And it was one of the just worst feelings I've ever seen just watching this movie. And it's just bad.
Yeah.
But
also very long. 2012 was like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something.
Yeah. But the trailer for this it really got my attention, and I liked it. So if we can revisit Independence Day, which was a really good movie, I've seen it not super recent, but recent enough to say that I'm afraid it might not hold up as well as we remember. Like there might be a little bit of cheese to it now.
Yeah. I would totally be down for revisiting it. Independence Day is on my list. We haven't gotten to it yet, but I am excited about it as well. I had the exact same reaction when they announced that they were going to do an Independence Day 2. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Because the first one, honestly, I thought, was fine by itself, standalone movie, and you don't need a sequel 20 years later. But then that trailer came out, and I was actually pleasantly surprised by the trailer. It looks pretty decent, so I'm hoping that the movie's good.
Right. The story seems intriguing.
Yeah.
Or at least what is, what we are perceived to be the story.
I kind of like the idea that 20 years have passed in the, world of the movie. The world of the movie. You know what I mean? And I like, how Bill Pullman's character, the president, he's got the beard and everything, and he's like, they're coming back. And so it's kind of neat. Like, I'm assuming, 20 years have gone by since the first invasion, and now we're getting a second invasion.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so that's my number 8. That comes out June 24th.
Sweet.
Of this year.
Number 7 for me. Are you going to say this year every time?
Yeah.
Number 7 for me. This one's going to seem a little low on the list, I think, to you. And I think if there was a trailer out for it, it would be a bit higher. But since there's not a trailer yet, it's sitting at number 7 for me, and that is Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. The only thing that we really know about this film is that it takes place between episodes 3 and 4. and that it's about a rebel crew who steal the Death Star plans, which obviously comes into play in Episode 4. It's pretty much the starting point for Episode 4. So there are rumors that Darth Vader is going to be in this film, which I think is kind of cool. And I'm just, it'd be interesting to see the rebel crew that they put together. It's got a pretty good cast. Felicity Jones, I believe, is the main character. Ben Mendelsohn's in it. I'm trying to think of who else is in it. I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately, but it looks like a pretty good cast, and I can't wait to see a trailer, but I don't know when we're going to see one. I don't know if they're going to wait till Comic-Con to release footage or what, but that one comes out December 16th, which is essentially the same time Star Wars Episode 7 came out. So another Star Wars film to break box office records this year coming out. I imagine this is on your list, and that's why you're staying so quiet. I think I had a mini stroke just now. Say what?
I said I think I just had a mini stroke.
Because it's number 7 and not higher?
Yeah. Well, you'll not just that. You'll know. Keep going.
Okay.
Oh well. Okay. I guess it's my turn. Number 7 is Suicide Squad.
Ah, yes.
I have not been that excited for this movie.
Yeah.
To be honest, the latest trailer that came out has piqued my interest more than anything that I have seen beforehand, and I would now say, obviously, it's up on my list, and I am intrigued to see it.
Is that only because they included Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen?
Yes.
That's the only reason that you're now interested. You're like, oh, they used Queen.
Right. I'm hoping they do the Wayne's World scene.
Yes, I'm sure they will, of course.
If that happens, then that's the whole reason I want to see the movie.
This is also on my list, so I'm going to save some comments for.
Okay. Well, I'm just pausing for dramatic effect. But anyway, I have to say that the shots that I got of the Joker were more satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
You got to see him in a tuxedo.
Yeah, you got to see him in a few different costume changes. So it's kind of nice that he's not going to be in purple sweatpants and barefoot and shirtless the whole movie. So
exactly. And that was my major concern. So it looks like there is going to be a lot more detail to this character and a depthness to it.
Yeah.
That I wasn't sure we were going to get.
Right.
So I'm excited to see that. I think that Croc has grown on me a little bit. I've accepted him more because I kind of when I envisioned Croc being in the movies and portrayed, I wanted a kind of the hulking Hulk or a Croc that is like the Hulk.
Right, kind of like the design of Killer Croc in the Arkham Asylum games.
Exactly. Maybe not that big.
Okay.
Maybe a mix between the animated series Croc and the Arkham games Croc.
Okay.
But he's kind of grown on me. And the fact that I think it's going to be, and I think I read this or heard it, that it's supposed to be more connected to Batman v Superman than we realize.
I know that Batman is in the film. Ben Affleck is Batman is in the film. There was some paparazzi, I suppose, shots of there's a Batman stunt double, but he was on top of Joker's car and whatnot. So I know that he's in the film at least as Batman a little bit, but I don't know how much Ben Affleck's presence is going to be known. But yeah, it is connected to the Batman. It's connected to the Batman vs Superman universe, which I guess is now becoming the DC cinematic universe that they're trying to create, which is just based off the trailers for Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad, looks like a very dark universe.
It is. Marvel has always catered, even as they went, more adult with the Marvel universe when that came along, and Iron Man and Avengers and stuff. It still had that family aspect to it. Sure. And I feel like what DC, from what they've kind of been showing, is, in Man of Steel. Man of Steel wasn't a non-family movie, but it was about as tilted, I think, as you could go. Especially with Superman, right? Right. It was kind of a hardcore movie. You had the spoiler alert, the death of Zod and stuff. Right. And then, it looks like Batman v Superman. All that stuff, right? Huh?
in the destroyed city
Right.
and all that
Right.
and everything. Yeah, of course.
I didn't understand that. I felt like that was, understood and just like any other action movie where there would be major destruction.
Mm-hmm.
But the in your face snapping of the neck could be shocking for children, definitely. So
Well, that's true. Yeah.
and these movies, especially Suicide Squad, looks like it's saying they're for an older audience.
Right.
There's not really any
Right.
family aspect.
They'll
Yeah.
obviously no doubt be PG-13, but yeah, it'll be one of those.
Right.
know,
It's
like
almost
Marvel's
like
always rated PG-13, but it'll be a little bit more like maybe see it before your kids.
I can see. Yeah, exactly. I'm not taking my kids to see Suicide Squad. So, and I
Well, yeah, I don't blame
see
you.
it
I mean,
when
like I
it's
said, it
released.
looks very dark. Killer Croc, I
Right.
think, could scare kids.
Yeah.
Depending on especially what he does in the movie. Who knows?
right.
So yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
well,
that's
like I
my-
said, I have more to say about Suicide Squad, but it's
Sure.
a little higher up on my list.
That's my number 7.
Yep. And that one comes out August 5th.
Yes, it does.
Number 6 for me is a film we've already talked about. It's Independence Day Resurgence. So, like you said, directed by Roland Emmerich. I don't really have much more to say about this, since we kind of covered it already. Obviously, Will Smith is not in the film, and when he declined on being in Independence Day 2, they decided to just kill his character off. They did I haven't actually seen the video, but apparently there's a kind of a viral video that goes with the film, and it's supposedly his character flying and gets like blown up or something. So it's like the death of Will Smith's character that's out there. It's like news footage or something. I don't know. I haven't really seen it. But Will Smith said that he was kind of sad that they killed off his character, even though he said no to being in the movie. Obviously, that's not Will Smith not being in Independence Day is not going to make me want to go see the second one, just based off the trailer and everything that we've seen.
No, I don't want to see it because Will Smith is in it.
Yeah, so never mind. I'm scratching it off my list.
My list is actually completely random. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
You don't know what the next movie is until you like lift the piece of paper. Oh, it's not. Okay. So yeah, Independence Day Resurgence. I hope it's good. Hope it's not another. I mean, it could very well be another unnecessary sequel that we get 20 years after the original, like so many. I mean, we got Zoolander 2 that's out in theaters right now that came out 15 years after the original.
It's in theaters now?
Yeah, it came out on Friday.
Have you
with,
seen it?
Deadpool. I haven't. I'm going to see it tomorrow.
Okay.
So, but from what I hear, it's a very unnecessary sequel. That
Really?
Yeah.
I liked the trailer. The trailer looked promising to me.
Yeah. I like Ben Stiller, and I think some people you either really like Ben Stiller's humor or you really don't. My dad
Right.
is the one. I can't remember what movie it was, but we saw some preview with Ben Stiller, and my dad was like, I just don't get those guys' movies. Like, he's just not a Ben
That's
Stiller
interesting.
fan.
See, that's how I always was with Adam Sandler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I've always loved Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
And I can typically, for me, with a comedy, I can tell if I think it's going to be funny or not. Like Dumb and Dumber 2, which I haven't seen, I was very worried about because of the
Right.
trailer.
Another unnecessary sequel 20 years later.
Vacation, the Vacation
Yeah, I didn't see that either, yeah.
yeah, that one. It just wasn't hitting me.
So anyway, yeah, so it's statistically speaking, Independence Day probably won't be good, but I'm hoping that it is. So it's number 6 on my list, Independence Day 2. Which, again, comes out June 24th.
Next on my list is I don't know that much about, but I'm just going based off of a teaser and past experiences with the universe, which is Fantastic Beasts.
Ah, yes.
Um,
I had a feeling this one was going to be on your list.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but I'm curious. I never read any of her other books based in their universe, and
I didn't either. This one actually was a book that she wrote, wasn't it?
Right.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find
Yeah.
Them. Yeah.
So and the trailer just kind of had that little spark of can we go back to Potter World,
Right.
and can we even deviate a little bit and go off and enjoy it as much, just to be able to see another. Focus on another, I think, wizard.
Right, a whole nother character.
Right.
For those of you that may not know what we're talking about, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a There's a new movie based on a book by J.K. Rowling set in the Harry Potter universe. But it's not set in present. Is it set in present day, or is it? I think it's like 1960s New York. I think.
I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it takes place even before Harry Potter, so I think it's kind of a prequel of sorts.
Probably. Well, that's a good question. Like, is this? Do you know is this story based on the writing of this book? Like, is this the story that made the book come to be, or because that book was written and done with? During the Harry Potter story.
Fantastic
if I'm
Beasts
not
and Where to Find Them.
mistaken. I think they referenced the book.
They referenced the book in the first movie, I think, but I don't think the book, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, had been written until after the Harry Potter books were written, right?
Yes, but I'm talking about in the universe.
Yes, in the universe, I believe it was
had been
written, yes, before Harry
Right.
Potter 1. Because I think that's when they refer to it as in the first movie, or in the first book.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But
Like I said, I don't know anything about this movie but the trailer, and to be able to go back to the Wizarding world, I'm intrigued enough to, I would enjoy coming back to the universe if it felt like it were a fun story to dive back into.
And I believe it's directed by David Yates, who directed the
Is it
last
really?
4 Harry Potter movies, or
Is it
5
really?
Harry Potter movies.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's directed by David Yates.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's another
And
kind
Colin,
of plus.
and Colin Farrell's in it?
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Sort of. I mean, she's kind of established herself as, like Stephen King for the English, basically.
Right.
Well, not Stephen King, but, Stephen King to a degree. She's
For the young adult audience, I suppose.
Yeah, but I consider Stephen King to be my favorite author.
Yeah.
He's like the Steven Spielberg for me for
of
books.
book writing. Right.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So that's my number. That's my number 6.
Cool.
And did we say when that came out?
No.
It comes out November 18th.
Nice. My number 5 is a film that I think is going to be really funny. At least I hope it will be. And it is a film called The Nice Guys. Have you seen the trailer for this?
I don't think so.
You should definitely check it out. There's I believe on YouTube there's a red band trailer that is not safe for work, and then there is a green band, obviously cleaner trailer. But it is it's got Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe in it, and it's written and directed by Shane Black. Shane Black, the last film Shane Black did was Iron Man 3, but he is kind of known for the whole buddy cop comedy movie. He wrote the original Lethal Weapon. He wrote The Last Boy Scout, which was Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans back in the late 80s, early 90s. He wrote, I think it was back in 2007-ish, 2007 or 8. There was a movie called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang that has Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer in it, which is a great film. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. It's hilarious. It's also kind of a buddy cop type thing.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard of that title.
He wrote and directed that. So this movie, I think, looks really funny. It's set in the 70s. Ryan Gosling is a private investigator, and Russell Crowe is kind of the muscle, if you will. And they're trying to track down like a missing person. It's like somebody's daughter or something like that. And it just looks like there's all sorts of hijinks ensue, and it looks really, really funny to me. And I really like Shane Black's writing. And if it's anything like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I'm sure I'm going to love it. So I'm really excited about that. And like I said, definitely check the trailer out. It's on YouTube. It's called The Nice Guys, and it comes out May 20th.
Nice. See what I did there?
Nice.
So my number 5 is probably not on your list.
Okay.
And it technically shouldn't be this high up on my list, but it is, and I will explain why.
All right.
It is Warcraft.
Ah, yes.
I never played WoW or anything, which, if you don't know what WoW is, it's World of Warcraft. And it is a MMO, which is a type of game where you get on and play with people online. It was really one of the first. It started kind of that kind of game around when online games were popping up for the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it wasn't the first, it was like the first widely successful.
It was, yeah, it was
hugely successful.
Yeah, is exactly. I don't even know. There's maybe been only 1 or 2 games that have come close to that since.
Right.
Anyway, it's kind of set in the world like, where you would find Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. It's called high fantasy genre. And I am a big fan of that. We kind of got a flood of people wanting to kind of mimic and copy Lord of the Rings style movies back when that came out. Kind of like what happened with superhero movies, when X-Men came out and Spider-Man and the success of those, and we just kind of had a first generation of superhero movies that came out. And then we never really got a break, and we had the Marvel movies, and we're kind of getting off the end of that second one. High fantasy didn't last near as long as, or hasn't continued. And I'm kind of excited. They tried with the Hobbit movies. Well, I think we'll probably do podcasts on those later.
I'm sure we will.
I'm excited to see. The trailer is very dry to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I need to explain why it's so high up on my list, is because I played the original games at a very young age, and to see what the original idea was, where you have humans and you just have these, goblin-like guys that are orcs, and you had basically good versus evil, and that's a classic setting.
Sure. That
I feel like you don't really see a lot of anymore. Just, you've got the good guys fighting the bad guys.
Right.
I'm hoping that they're just showing the action bits, and that there'll be more of a story and lore to this.
Right.
That I didn't get that vibe from the trailer, but I hope I'm wrong. Anyway, that's my number 5. It's
not on my list. It's now that I've warmed up a little to the fantasy genre. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing this in the theater, but the trailer really didn't do a whole lot for me.
It looks very generic.
It's very generic. I'm hoping that there's more to it than that, like you said. Duncan Jones directed it, who directed Moon, and Source Code. Which,
he did. That makes me hope that maybe
there's more to it than what we're seeing.
There's more to it, but the question is, how much did he have to do with story? Like, did he do Moon's story at all? Did he work on?
I want to say he got a story credit, but he didn't write the script. So yeah, Duncan Jones, I think, is a good director. This is obviously his biggest film in terms of scope and also budget, probably, and whatnot. And so hopefully it wasn't too much for him. And yeah, hopefully it. When that movie comes out, I'll probably see what the reviews are, and if the reviews are really bad, I'll probably skip it. But if they're good, then I'll check it out for sure.
So yeah, that's my number 5. That comes out June 10th, 2016. 2016.
Number 4 for me is I don't know if it's going to be the final chapter of this franchise or not, but I feel like it could be, and I think it would be okay. And that is X-Men Apocalypse. This is what
Oh my god!
You okay there?
It's not here.
What's not here?
X-Men.
On your list?
It's not on my list. This kicks off Dory.
Dory's off the list. Well, anyway, X-Men Apocalypse. This obviously takes place in the 80s, which X-Men First Class was in the 60s, X-Men Days of Future Past was in the 70s, now we're in the 80s. So it's the third James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender X-Men film, but it is the 6th, I guess. If not counting the Wolverine spin-offs, it's the 6th, X-Men franchise film. If you want to go X-Men 1, X2, X-Men Last Stand, First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse. Is that right?
Yeah. Order of what? Chronological?
Not necessarily chronologically, because X-Men First Class, these 3 would come first before X-Men 1.
True. Right.
However, it is sort of changing the timeline of the first 3 films.
I don't remember I feel like, well, I'll save this for my portion.
Sure. Anyway, so not including the X-Men, or the Wolverine spin-offs, which, we've had 2 of, and we're about to get a third. which I'm not. That comes out next year, I guess. But I think this movie, the preview looked really good. Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, I think it looks amazing. The fact that we're even getting a movie with Apocalypse in it, I think is awesome. Archangel, Psylocke, all those characters I think are going to be fun to watch on the big screen. So I'm hoping we get another trailer here fairly soon and get a little bit more footage. But I honestly, X-Men Days of Future Past was incredible. Bryan Singer's doing this one again too. So X-Men Apocalypse, I honestly can't wait. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. So it's May 27th, that one.
And that was your number?
It's my number 4.
4. Yeah, it's a good spot for it. Finding Dory is obviously now
number 11.
11, an honorable mention. And I am one behind you.
Okay.
As far as the positioning on the list goes, because my number 5 again
okay.
is Star Trek Beyond.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it's very nice. Star Trek Beyond, the third in the Star Trek new series.
Now I'll say this: the trailer did nothing for me, except it did do something. It made me a little concerned.
Okay.
Because all we got was action.
Right.
And that is not what I want out of this movie. That's something I felt like J.J. Abrams really brought with the last two, was he was able to bring the action, but to have a story that was intriguing and blended together.
Right.
This was just a trailer, and I can get my hopes up by thinking they just want to show, sci-fi audience there's action in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that the story will come later. It is directed by
Justin Lin.
Yes. Who has done
all the Fast and Furious movies since Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. Which I have not seen any of those.
Oh, well, you're actually missing out on some pretty decent movies. 5, 6, and 7 are actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know that you're a fan of the
I know,
Fast
and I never
and
thought
Furious
that would ever happen. But
movies, so it definitely intrigues me. Simon Pegg is one of the writers.
Yep.
And
that is actually one of the things that makes me feel a little better about it. Because I believe Simon Pegg is a Star Trek fan.
Right.
So I'm hoping he brings a little bit of the Star Trek that you and I are looking for to this film.
Right. I did not know that he wrote Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, he co-wrote it with Edgar Wright, yep. Which makes me think that there's probably also going to be a fair amount of comedy in Star Trek 3, Star Trek Beyond.
What if they got Edgar Wright to direct Star Trek 3?
That'd be amazing. I would love it. I still wish I could have seen Edgar Wright's Ant-Man.
I'm assuming, I don't know if Edgar Wright is a Star Trek fan, but I'm assuming that there would be the possibility that he would try to take it seriously, and that I think would be very interesting, because the only Edgar Wright movies I have seen, to my knowledge, are Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Are you telling me
seen
that you have not seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
No, I've not seen that.
You would love that movie. That movie might, and this might sound blasphemous to that, because I know Shaun of the Dead has a huge following, and I love Shaun of the Dead. I love Hot Fuzz. I even really like The World's End, which is the kind of the
right. I was getting ready to say that I haven't seen that one.
Movie for that series. But I think Scott Pilgrim might be my favorite Edgar Wright movie. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is incredible.
Okay.
It is so it's really unlike any movie I've ever seen. Edgar Wright brings such a fantastic comic book element to it that it's hard to describe, but it's funny, it's entertaining, it's got, action in it. It is a great movie.
I'm going to throw that up on some of my list, top of the list somewhere. Maybe not
watch,
number one, but like my top 10 for movies I need to watch next.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be number one, probably.
Your excitement, I can just feel it and see it. So I feel like I really need to see this movie now.
You do.
Okay. I also need to see Zombieland.
Zombieland's good too. Yeah. That's not an Edgar Wright movie, but
right.
That's I don't know where that came from.
It's here under. You might also like.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Back to Star Trek, though. I think the trailer. I like the trailer. It didn't get me. It didn't excite me enough to put it on my top 10 list for this episode. Justin Lin is an action director. He's done the Fast and Furious movies. pretty much since Tokyo Drift, but he also did do the second season of True Detective, which a lot of people didn't like, but I wouldn't say that was his fault. So he's capable of doing, kind of dramas and things like that, but he also can handle the action and the big budgets and everything. So I don't really know how this third Star Trek is going to go, if it's going to be primarily just action, constantly, or what. But I love the cast for this Star Trek universe, and Simon Pegg, like you said, is co-writing it, so I'm kind of excited about that. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but it didn't get me excited enough to put it on my top 10.
If they can continue the story from Into Darkness as kind of seamlessly without J. James being at the helm, then I'm super excited, because the way they ended Into Darkness, where they were getting on the Enterprise and they were turning, and we're finally going on the mission that started this show.
Right, the 5-year mission or whatever.
So I hope and pray that they can get this right, because I'm such a big fan of the two Abrams movies. So that was my number 4, or was that 5?
I think that was 5.
It's 5. Okay. So it's kind of far back on my list.
Or was it number 4? I don't know.
Number
I'm about
5.
to do
It
number
was
3.
supposed to be number 4, but it's number 5 now.
Okay, well, I guess you are a couple behind me now, because I'm about to do my number 3.
Yeah.
Which is Suicide Squad, which you've already talked about a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited about Suicide Squad. Both trailer, there was the Comic-Con trailer that was leaked and then officially released by Warner Brothers. That sold me. I was on board right after that. The first picture of Joker threw me off a little bit with the tattoos and everything. Getting to see a snippet of him at the very end of that Comic-Con trailer was nice, and kind of made me think that Jared Leto's going to do a good job with it. But just the second trailer that came out, the one with the Bohemian Rhapsody with Queen, you see all sorts of different things. There's a supernatural element to it. There's obviously Enchantress is a character who's like possessed by a witch, but there looks like there's these creatures that are made out of this like black. Either it's like a goo, or it's like a kind of almost like an earthy element, like it's like real dirty dirt kind of. There almost looks like Groot is in the preview. There's one shot where it's like in front of a subway, and it looks like it almost kind of looks like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, it's not, but something like that. I think Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is a perfect choice. I think the only thing that could really make this movie, or the only thing that would make me even more excited about this movie, is if Tom Hardy was still in it. He was originally supposed to be Rick Flag, right, and had to bow out because he was caught up doing reshoots and whatnot for The Revenant, and so that part was given to Joel Kinnaman, who played RoboCop in the remake. And in my opinion, he's fine, but he's no Tom Hardy. And so if Tom Hardy could have been in this movie, I think it would have just been that much more amazing. But Killer Croc, I think, looks cool. I think Deadshot's going to be fun. It looks like it has a lot of cool action. David Ayer, who is the writer and director of this film, I think is a good director. He's made some pretty good movies in the past. He did Fury most recently, that Brad Pitt World War II tank movie, which if you haven't seen is very good. He did End of Watch, which was the Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Pena LAPD movie. It was found footage, which is unfortunate, but it was really well done, and I like that one a lot. He was, obviously most notably, he is known for writing Training Day, so he's very good writer and director. Obviously, this is his first dive into the world of comics, but from what I've seen from the trailer, it looks like he is, going to make a pretty sweet movie.
Nice.
So I'm excited about it. Can't really say much more about that. August 5th, Suicide Squad.
All right. That brings me to my number 4, which is Captain America: Civil War.
Very nice. Well, this is my number 2, so we can kind of talk about this together.
Okay, sure. That works. I was pretty pleased with the trailer that we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any of the Super Bowl stuff.
It's not terribly different than what the other trailer was. There's just like one or two more shots of kind of they have a nice little establishing shot of both teams. So it's the first time you've seen Ant-Man in the trailer, and you get a pretty good shot of Black Panther kind of standing beside some of the other folks.
Gotcha.
But that's about probably the only new thing in the trailer.
Yeah. Okay. I don't necessarily want to see any more.
Right.
From what I've gotten vibe-wise from the trailer, I don't know if this is going to be able to stand up as well as... I remember now seeing the footage of them kind of coming up and standing, toe-to-toe.
Face off, basically, yeah, face
right.
off.
So that was kind of interesting. No Spider-Man.
Nope, not yet.
Which I was kind of shocked about, but at the same time, if you think about it, a lot of people are going to go see this movie.
Yes.
And I think it'd be kind of, I'm wondering if they're kind of hoping people will kind of forget that they've even cast Spider-Man. So that it'd be kind of a surprise. Spider-Man, I would definitely expect Spider-Man to be the end credits sequence in this movie.
Oh, you think so? You don't think he's going to have a part in the actual story, the main storyline of the film? I know that he has a part in the comic version of Civil War, but as far as the film goes, because I originally heard that he was going to be, they couldn't get Spider-Man, so they brought in Black Panther.
Right.
And Black Panther was going to be kind of the Spider-Man
I don't think
of the
they
film.
altered it back to Spider-Man.
I would be a little disappointed, I think, if it's just an end credit sequence. I'm hoping for a little more. I could see them not showing it in the trailers for a couple different reasons. Number one, I know the Marvel fans, the the true Marvel kind of comic book fans who know that Spider-Man's going to be in the movie, I think are excited to see Spider-Man in the movie. But I think the average kind of everyday moviegoer, I think there's a little fatigue with Spider-Man because they rebooted it so quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
And then the second movie didn't do very well. So I could see them not wanting to show it in the trailer for the average moviegoer because you could be like, all right, it's Captain America. And then you see Spider-Man and you're like, really? So.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. They might tease it.
And the way that, I don't know if you've seen any of Lego's movies with Marvel.
I haven't, no.
But they almost treat Spider-Man now like a comic-y character.
Really? Comic relief?
Like for humor. And I'm like, they're kind of going away from Spider-Man being the serious character that he was, with the Maguire movies. And I'm hoping that, I don't think they would. They could go a little bit more than I'd like, but I hope that they, that Marvel, and I expect they will. I'm sure they're thrilled to be able to finally bring Spider-Man into their universe.
Oh, I'm sure. It's like it's their
golden
prize character, pretty much.
Right. It's their Batman.
Spider-Man I was going to say it's their Superman, but I guess
yeah.
They, I guess Batman, DC. I would think DC's biggest character for a while was Superman, but it probably is Batman now.
Oh, but yeah, I would definitely say so. Batman, I'd say for the past 20 years has been DC's. I'd say he kind of started getting his heels in the 80s, and then with the '89 Batman movie, and he's kind of been, I think, the top favorite, undisputably for the past 20 years.
I'd probably agree with you. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to say about Captain America. It's that first trailer, seeing Iron Man and Captain America and Winter Soldier duking it out looked really cool.
Right, I love that line. It almost gave me chills the first time
where he's like, it's nothing personal. He's just my friend. And Iron Man.
I love the cut.
Yeah,
I love the cut to his face when he says it. And you can just see it in Downey Jr.'s eyes.
Yeah, it's a good performance.
That he's got emotion in it. So excited to see that.
I'm a little. I hope there's a little bit of a explanation as to why Winter Soldier is suddenly not a bad guy anymore. And I'm sure it's explained in the comics, but I want a movie explanation. Like, I know, without getting into spoilerly detail, at the end of Captain America Winter Soldier, there's a little hint that maybe he's remembering some
we
stuff.
haven't done Winter Soldier yet.
We haven't. And so, in the trailer for Captain America Civil War, Captain America tells Winter Soldier, he's like, these people are after you for things that you've done, and he's like, I don't do that anymore. And he's like, well, they're still, after you or whatever. And so I'm wondering if that's the explanation we get. It's him just saying, I don't do that anymore, and then he's fighting alongside Captain America. Or if there's going to be some sort of, he gets his memory back, obviously, and remembers himself as, spoiler, Bucky.
Right.
and goes from there.
So anyway, that was my number. Was that 4? Yes, 4.
Well, that was my number 2. So you might want to go ahead and do your next couple.
My number 3. Okay. My number 3 is going to be X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay, very nice.
I am so stoked about the X-Men universe right now. I love. I really, really, really liked First Class. I loved Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
And to know that Bryan Singer is doing one last X-Men, I think this will be I'm pretty sure this will be Bryan Singer's last one. I think we talked about it on an earlier podcast episode to where I mentioned that this would probably be the last X-Men movie. And I definitely don't think that's the case now. I think now that thinking about it some more, this is going to be the handoff of the torch to even more X-Men movies.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of this universe without Patrick Stewart, and Ian McKellen. This will be the last movie with them, and Hugh Jackman, and but I feel like this is going to be just the final nod and goodbye with this universe, and it looks great. And I agree with what you said about Oscar Isaac being Apocalypse, and the fact that we're getting Apocalypse in a movie. He was always one of my favorite and most intriguing. I consider to be the most intriguing villains of the X-Men and comic book universe when I was into that, like in 3rd grade. And I remember talking with one of my friends around that time when I was into X-Men, 1992. The cartoons were out, and talking about how cool it would be to have X-Men movies, and it took them like what?
What felt like forever.
Yeah, it felt like forever. It was really 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
But finally, you got your X-Men movies, and the fact that they're still going on, and that Bryan Singer is involved, and all the original characters is just it's just such a blessing, and I love it. So I can't wait to see this final film, and I hope it's just as outstanding as Days of Future Past was in it. And from what I've seen in the trailers, it looks like it's probably going to deliver.
I think so too. I personally, I can't wait for it. I don't, we haven't seen anything. I'm hoping Hugh Jackman is in it, even if it's a cameo, because I haven't heard or seen anything about him being in it.
I thought he was.
As far as he's not in the trailer or anything.
I thought this and the other Wolverine movie are supposed to be his last. I could be wrong.
I know the standalone Wolverine movie is his last outing as Wolverine.
Right. But
that movie's coming out after
he was
this
going
one,
to be in this too.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's got a part in this movie, but I don't know.
I can't.
It's not
going
to be as big as it was in Days of Future
I can't imagine. Yeah, you probably if that's the case, probably that. But I can't imagine Bryan Singer having his final X-Men movie and not having Hugh
Wolverine,
Jackman in it,
right?
With all of the original X-Men. Like,
I hope you
can't
right.
do that. You just can't do it. Anyway, that was number 3. So
What's
do I
your
need to do
number
my
2?
number 2 also?
Yeah. Well, I only have my number 1 left. I don't know how we got kind of so far off.
All
here,
right, so my number 2 is probably, I would assume is going to be your number 1 now, which is Batman v Superman.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So I know what your number 1 is probably. So yeah, we'll go ahead. My number 1, my most anticipated film of 2016 is Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Yeah.
Batman v Superman. I think I said that weird. Dawn of Justice. I have been excited about this film pretty much. I mean, I wasn't super excited about it when they first announced it. I was like, okay, cool. We're going to have Batman and Superman in the same movie together. Hope that's good. But once we first saw Ben Affleck in that costume, that first image that was released, and then that first trailer that barely has any Batman in it at all, I've been so excited ever since then.
Yeah.
And it just keeps building and building. That Comic-Con trailer that came out last summer, I thought was like one of the coolest trailers I've ever seen. The trailer that came out after that I thought was pretty good, but didn't get me super excited. And that's
the one without...
That was the one with Doomsday.
Yeah.
And then the one that they just released, which I almost kind of wish I hadn't watched, because at this point I feel like I've just seen so much footage. But this last trailer that just came out...
You wish you hadn't seen this last trailer?
I almost wish I hadn't seen it, or just maybe the last couple of trailers, because I just feel like I've seen a lot of footage from Batman.
Yeah, you have. But I feel like this one was almost needed after the Doomsday thing, because honestly...
I agree with you.
Doomsday... When he dropped down on the building, or was coming down from the building, my heart sank a little bit, and it was not in a good way.
Right, same here. And so I absolutely agree that they were like, okay, that trailer did not have the desired effect, so we need to do one more.
Yeah,
and maybe they were always planning on doing one more. I don't know, but this last trailer that just came out, I can't stop watching it. Yeah. It melted my face. I thought it was so good. And it's gotten me so excited for this new movie, and I think Zack Snyder is going to do a great job visually on all of it.
If you notice, the scene, the fighting scene in the beginning, I'm pretty sure was totally taken out of, like, the Arkham games.
No, it's what it looks like, pretty much. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a direct, like, visual of the fighting in the Arkham games, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That whole scene just, my mouth, I can't pick it back up. It's too far down.
Anybody who, was talking crap about Ben Affleck being Batman, I think at this point they've all been silenced, because he looks like he's going to be incredible, obviously, as the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So, and I love Superman. Superman's always been one of my favorite characters, and the fight scenes between the two of them look like they're going to be amazing. And then, of course, when they inevitably team up and become friends, right. I think is going to be good too. So, and and I've always kind of leaned a little more towards the DC universe than the Marvel universe in terms of just comic books and whatnot. And I kind of grew up on Batman and Superman rather than Spider-Man and Iron Man and whatnot. And so the Justice League, I hope Justice League is going to be good. First of all, I hope this movie's good. But and if it is, I'm hoping Justice League is just as good, if not better, and hopefully,
I'm really excited to see Jesse Eisenberg's performance, because watching, I remember too the first time you hear his words in that scene, I was a little nervous, and I don't know why. I think I might have felt like this might have been too much for Jesse Eisenberg to really take in and handle, because it's such a role to take in, and it's like, how do this is really the first time Lex Luthor has been portrayed in a different light, other than the
way Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey played him. And Kevin Spacey essentially played it the way Gene Hackman played.
So can you imagine to be responsible for that, and to know that, like, how do you're portraying that, and those are some shoes.
Yeah.
So, but now that I've gone and watched it again, I'm hoping and I'm thinking he might pull this off pretty well.
I think he will too. I think, it was a casting choice that when it was announced, I was like, what? Because, I like Jesse Eisenberg. I think he did good. And I already thought he did well in The Social Network and everything. But I just did not see him as Lex Luthor. I just saw him as more of a, I couldn't get the Social Network kind of kid out of my brain. I couldn't get him as Mark Zuckerberg.
And I think that's what they're going for.
They're going for the Zuckerberg?
Yes.
And I think they are, but he's playing it differently.
Right.
And I think, I'm excited to see his portrayal of Lex Luthor. I actually do think it's going to be pretty good.
Right. But I think, that's kind of initially what they were, when they were thinking, what kind of person are we going to make Lex? And they're like, let's make him a young entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, granted, he's inherited this.
Right. I did read something interesting, that Lex Luthor was not the original role they offered to Jesse Eisenberg. And he said no to the first role, and so then they thought about it, and they're like, oh, maybe he'd make the good Lex Luthor, and they offered him Lex Luthor, and he accepted it.
Interesting. Do you know what role it was?
He didn't say, so I don't know what it was. Huh. It could be, You know, there's an actor named Scoot McNairy that's in Batman vs Superman. We still don't know who he's playing. So it's possible it could be that role. You know, some people were like, it was probably Jimmy Olsen. I don't know if that's the case, but
I can see that.
Yeah, you never know. So
you know, going for the safe pick, he would have fit. Anyway, so that's my number. That's my number 2. Your number 1.
That's my number 1.
My number 1 is Star Wars.
Rogue One. I figured it was
Rogue One, and yeah, I know that I mentioned to Justin before we started that I was like, you know, I've got a tie here. And it was between Star Wars and Batman v Superman because we know so much more about Batman v Superman. We've seen so much, and I am super excited about that. But I think to know that, you know, yes, there's been rumors that Darth Vader is going to be in Rogue One, and I've been saying that he would have to be from the beginning.
He's got to be in it. He's got to be. How can you make a movie that takes place in between episodes 3 and 4 and not have Darth Vader?
Yeah, you've got Disney's first chance to put Darth Vader their way on screen. They're going to do it. He's the icon of Star Wars.
Right, exactly.
You know, over Luke Skywalker, over Yoda, over anything else Star Wars. Darth Vader is the face of Star Wars.
And he's other than having James Earl Jones voice him, you don't have to have the same actor play Darth Vader
right.
you know, they're talking about doing this young Han Solo movie, and I hope that's good, but I could see that being a disaster. But with Darth Vader, because of the mask and the clothing he wears and everything, you don't have to have Hayden Christensen play him, or you don't have to have David Prowse be in the thing. As long as you have James Earl Jones voicing him, essentially, you know, you could Darth Vader is going to be like a timeless character type. I mean, he is a timeless character, but I mean,
right.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like you can't. It's a lot easier to cast.
Right. We've got all this Star Wars magic floating in the air right now.
Right.
And I mean, what a celebration to be able to see Darth Vader back on the screen.
Exactly.
The way that we've never seen him before. So I'm super stoked about the opportunity there. I'm intrigued about what they're going to do with, you know, just this is really the first movie we're getting that's in the Luke Skywalker original universe of the stuff that was, you know, it's a little bit before, just barely though. I mean, it can't be that long.
It's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be right before, honestly, because I mean, unless they steal the Death plans and sit on it, plans, the Death Star plans.
I'd say a year tops.
Yeah, exactly.
So apparently, Han Solo is going to have a cameo in this movie, and I feel like a year it's going to be a hard pill for me to swallow, because to have an actor and a year gap, and then he's Harrison Ford. 10 years, you know, if doing the Han Solo movie, if that takes place 10 years before the Cantina, then that I can do that. But to give him a cameo in Rogue One where it's a year out from that time,
right,
you know,
and
tops, and it's not Harrison Ford, I just don't. I don't like that.
No, I don't either. And that's exactly what I was taught. That's exactly what I meant by saying, like, Darth Vader's the perfect choice.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about having, like, a young Darth Vader. Or,
right.
like, a young Han Solo. You just have Darth Vader.
Right.
And so, yeah, like, I agree. If Han Solo's going to have a cameo, and I feel like that's a bad idea all around, because either you're going to have an actor who doesn't look like Harrison Ford play Han Solo about a year before A New Hope, or they're going to have Harrison Ford come in and they're going to do that CGI young face on him, which never looks quite right, and do that for his scene or something, and then that'll just throw people off because everybody's going to be like, ugh, he looks weird.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's apparently a rumor. I'm assuming it's probably true. I'm hoping, if it is, that they, you know, can't, you know, decide to cut it.
I don't know.
We'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, Star Wars is my number one. I'm in Star Wars mode right now.
I believe
and
you
Darth
are.
Vader being in the movie is just, I can't even fathom the excitement of seeing those boots and not seeing his face for the first time, but you see his boots. That's the introduction of his boots, and it pans up as he's walking through the hallways, hearing him breathe. It just gives me chills.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see a trailer for it. And like I said, if the trailer had come out already, it probably would be up higher on my list. But since there's no trailer, all we've gotten so far is just one kind of picture of the cast, and so that's, obviously I'm excited about it, but it's I'm more excited about some of the stuff that I, have seen footage for. I'm gonna kind of go through my top 10 again, but real quick before I do, I was gonna just mention a couple of honorable mentions.
Well, before you do that, we didn't even say the date of Batman v Superman.
Oh, wow. March 25th for Batman v Superman.
That's right around the corner.
Yeah.
So, I forget that all the time. I mean, Batman v Superman is next month.
Yep.
It's insane. And then, of course, Star Wars
is December 16th.
So
we have a little ways to go for that one.
Yeah.
And
apparently, not apparently, Episode 8 has been delayed again to holiday season of 2018. Or 2017.
Yes. It was originally going to be May of 2017 or something?
Yeah, it's going to be like a spring summer release.
Yeah. I remember reading about that, and I think they were obviously, Episode 7 did okay in the box office.
Yeah.
It's I think Disney went, well, that worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
And so they decided to move
I'm
episode
sure
8
the question was thrown around, do we continue? Do we do episode 8?
Yeah. Right.
But
I'm sure
I think they decided to go ahead and go through with it.
Do we just shut down everything right now? Yes, they decided to go through with episode 8. How sad would it have been, though, if obviously Star Wars is going to be huge. We all knew it was going to be huge. But how sad would it have been if it had completely flopped and we never...
It was another episode 1.
Yeah. And we never get episode 8 or 9.
Everyone just throwing up their hands and be like, that's it. There's... Not doing it again. Not doing it again.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
Episode 8's box office numbers would be 10 million.
It made $4 this weekend. One guy went and saw it and didn't even pay full price. All right, so a couple honorable mentions for me. Doctor Strange is one, which is another Marvel film.
Yes,
I don't know a whole lot about Doctor Strange. I know his character. I know what he looks like, and I've seen him in comics here and there, but I really don't know much
really
about
know
him
anything about him either. I watched the animated movie that they did about him, which I don't really remember, but it was really good, and I know he deals with supernatural stuff, and
I've been meaning to watch that
dimension is connected to him.
Who is?
I think there's another dimension that he's kind of connected with.
Gotcha. I believe that.
Yeah, and he was slightly related to some characters that I remember in the Spider-Man animated series from the mid 90s. There was this witch lady, I think it was from another dimension, and I think Doctor Strange was vaguely intertwined in that story. And Benedict Cumberbatch is playing.
Yeah, which I think, he looks perfect as Doctor Strange. Directed by Scott Derrickson, who's done some pretty good stuff, if I recall. Look him up real quick, if my internet works. He did Sinister, which was... he's actually done a lot of horror films. Sinister, though, is probably my favorite out of this list, which had Ethan Hawke in it, if you hadn't seen it.
I want to see Sinister. I remember wanting to see that movie.
He did The Exorcism of Emily Rose. He did a Hellraiser movie.
Which one?
Oh, these are writing. Sorry, let me look at directing credits. He did Hellraiser Inferno, which was a straight-to-video movie, it looks like.
Yeah.
That was his first film, so I guess you know.
In the month of October, I get into my horror movie mode, and Sinister was on the list, but I never made it. Did you ever watch those ones I sent to you that I said you should watch on Netflix?
Probably not.
I gotcha. You should next October watch them.
Okay. So Scott Derrickson, pretty good, and maybe because of his horror background, will throw some interesting visuals in there for Doctor Strange. So that comes out November 4th. So that was on my honorable mentions. Another one was Ghostbusters, which comes out this July.
Yeah, that's an honorable mention for me as well.
I love Ghostbusters, obviously. You and we've talked about the first film. So I'm
I was
curious.
talking with this about the same guy that about Batman, and Ghostbusters is probably, if it's not in my top 10, it'd be in my top 20 favorite movies of all time.
Sure, yeah, it's probably the same for me. So it's a little bittersweet to see it being rebooted.
I didn't find out that it was a reboot until a few weeks ago. I was thinking it was Ghostbusters 3.
No, yeah.
But yeah, they're just rebooting it.
Yeah, it's a reboot. And so I do like the cast, I like Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, and the director, Paul, I never know how to say his name, Paul Feig or something. Uh-huh. He's good. I just recently watched Spy with Melissa McCarthy, and that was actually a lot better than I expected it to be. So I'm hoping the comedy's good, and hopefully it'll be an enjoyable film, and it won't completely just ruin the original Ghostbusters. But so that's on my list, and hopefully we'll see a trailer for that.
I like
soon.
I'll go ahead and say a couple things. The costume design, I
bothers
think
you?
is pretty decent.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think it's cool that they're using an old school Ecto 1.
Right.
I wish they had called it the Ecto 2.
But since it's not in the same universe, right?
Right. Well, and just kind of like the Ecto 1's the Ecto 1's. But anyway,
right. I got you.
It looks like they're staying true to a lot of stuff, and I'm hoping it surprises me and turns out to be a great movie.
Yeah. And I honestly, there's been a lot of talk about the fact that it's all women now rather than the 4 Ghostbusters being men. That honestly doesn't bother me at all. And I think if you are going to reboot something like that, you might as well make changes like that to get away from the original. I mean, you're going to compare it to the original no matter what.
Right.
And I think even if this movie ends up being really great, people are going to walk out of it being like, well, it's not as good as the original.
Right.
And so rather than just do a very kind of generic 4-guy reboot of Ghostbusters, add that little twist to it. I kind of like the idea that it's now 4 women.
I get that, but
yeah.
I feel like they went too far with it. It's like there were 4 guys in the original, well, let's do 4 females. I mean, I feel like it was a forced decision a little bit.
Okay.
It's like, they probably only cast 4 women. Like, they were like, we're not doing guys in this movie. So, I feel like it would have been cool if they had been like let's get the 4 people that mesh with chemistry, let's get the 4 people with chemistry. And
right.
I feel like there were maybe limitations to, we've got to have it, this way. And who knows what, like I said, it'll probably be pretty cool. I really liked Bridesmaids.
Yeah, yeah.
Bridesmaids was a really great movie. So if we can get, a Bridesmaids Ghostbusters, I'm kind of cool with that.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know. I'm hoping I'm wrong. But I'm hoping that, a lot of the decisions for this movie weren't, written down on checklists of things that had to be done. Right.
Well, hopefully we'll see a preview soon. Like I said, it comes out in July, so it's only 5 months away.
Yeah.
There's got to be, a trailer coming out. I actually expected one during the Super Bowl, and I didn't see it. So hopefully it'll be pretty soon here. Maybe in front of Batman vs. Superman or something.
Right.
If not before. So that's an honorable mention. I have pretty much... I'll just do one more. I had Star Trek Beyond as well. But The Jungle Book, which comes out in April.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on that except some imagery. And, I loved the Disney cartoon, and maybe it's cool. I'm sure my kids will see it. I don't know if I'll go see it, take them to see it in the theater. But
right. I'll probably check it out in the theaters. I have kind of low expectations for it. I think visually it looks pretty good so far. And they got Bill Murray as Baloo, which I think is a pretty good choice.
Bill Murray?
Bill Murray, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a trailer for it?
There is a trailer for it. Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that, so...
Yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think.
Okay.
Christopher Walken does a voice, Scarlett Johansson, a couple other people.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty...
I'm assuming it's done by Disney. They probably own the rights.
It is done by Disney, and it's directed
Okay.
by Jon Favreau, who directed Iron Man 1
Oh,
and 2.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That bumped it up a lot, and my expectations.
So that's comes out on your birthday, actually, I believe, April 15th.
Interesting. Watch that be like my favorite movie of the year.
So real quick, just to read, I'm just going to go through my 10 through 1 if you want to do the same, John. Number 10 for me was The Founder. Number 9 was Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. Number 8 was Midnight Special. Number 7 was Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Number 6 was Independence Day Resurgence. Number 5, The Nice Guys. Number 4, X-Men Apocalypse. Number 3, Suicide Squad. Number 2, Captain America Civil War. And number 1, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Or Batman v Superman.
Nice. Yeah, mine was a honorable mention of Finding Dory. Number 10 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. 9 was Independence Day Resurgence. 8 was Suicide Squad. 7 was, I just have it down, Fantastic Beasts. What's it called? The full title.
I believe it's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yes. 5 was Warcraft. No. 6 was Warcraft. 5 was Star Trek Beyond. 4 was Captain America Civil War. 3 was X-Men Apocalypse. 2 was Batman v Superman. Almost tied, just because of lack of knowledge and footage,
Right.
for number 1, which was Star Wars Rogue One.
Star Wars Rogue One. Awesome.
All of those come out in 2016.
That's great. Oh, speaking of that, last year, one of the movies on my list from last year was called Silence, I believe is what it was called, directed by Martin Scorsese. And you'll notice that one did not come out in 2015. So I don't know when it's coming out now, honestly. I'm assuming it's going to come out sometime this year, 2016.
Gotcha.
But I didn't put it on the list because I honestly don't know.
Right. Would it have made the list if it had a definite 2016 date?
I don't know. Maybe. It might have knocked off The Founder out of number 10.
Gotcha.
It's got Liam Neeson and Andrew Garfield in it. And because it's Scorsese, I'm assuming if it does come out this year, it'll probably be towards the end of the year. Oscar season, probably.
Gotcha.
I have no idea why it got pushed back. I'm hoping it's not because it sucks and they're trying to fix it in post, but
Right.
Who knows? So yeah. We'd love to hear from you if there's any movies that we forgot in our top 10 list or any movies that you think we overlooked or perhaps you think deserve a spot. Let us know. You can comment at cinemaheroes.com. You can leave a comment at facebook.com/SM and SM podcast, or you can tweet us at cinemaheroes. I think that about wraps it up for this episode. I'm Justin Speck.
I'm John Pelzel.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading.